All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. Hope everybody is doing well today on this awesome Thursday. We've missed a few days, so we got a lot to cover. As always, want to make sure we're starting off our day by taking massive action. That action stands for accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome, setting yourself, body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading, trust in your education, strategy, trade skills, and intuition. Imagine your trade successfully materializing, obeying your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, and never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. All right. So if everybody can hear me okay, drop me a one in the chat and we will get things underway so we can get through as much as possible to get caught up on the fundamental side and all of the happenings for this week. Perfect. Appreciate it. All right. So we're going to jump straight into trading economics. Fed cut for the third time, but Jerome Powell took more of a hawkish stance. Um, Interesting conversation yesterday as I was reviewing the notes. But cut by 25 basis points, third consecutive reduction for the year, bringing borrowing costs from 4.25 to 4.5% range. In line with expectations, the so-called dot plot indicates the policymakers now anticipate just two rate cuts in 2025, totaling 50 basis points compared to a full percentage point reduction projected in the previous quarter, right? So they changed their projection. Initially, they were going to have four rate cuts at a full percentage point. They've cut that in half, right? They've cut that in half to just two. Okay. The Fed also revised its GDP growth forecast upward for 2024 from to 2.5% versus 2%, right? So up half of a percent, right? So these aren't necessarily small shifts. You look at it from a larger scale. That 2% was the projection in September, and 2025 up to 2.1 from 2, while remaining steady at 2% in 2026, right? Similarly, the PCE inflation projection have also been adjusted higher, right? So now we're looking at inflation numbers adjusted higher, GDP higher, right? People are buying more stuff. Inflation higher, 2024. So ending this year at 2.4% versus 2.3. 2025, they expect 2.5% PCE opposed to the 2.1 previous projection, right? So decent size increase there in 2025 at 2.1 versus 2. Um, the same trend also applies for core inflation, right? That was the headline inflation. It's the core PC inflation with a forecast in 2024 of 2.8 versus 2.6 that was projected. 2025 at 2.5 versus 2.2. In 2026, you're up 2% opposed, 2.2% opposed to 2. On the other hand, unemployment is seen lower this year versus the projection. So 4.2% opposed to 4.4. And in 2025, 4.3 versus 4.4. And then they kept 2026 at 4.3. So that means more people will have jobs to spend money, right? So leading into these PCE numbers, these inflation numbers, um, the economy has been resilient, right? And with the rate cuts that have come through so far, people have started to spend more money, right? And then also holiday season added into that, people are spending money. So important for us to keep our eyes on this because coming into 2025 with new fiscal policy from Donald Trump, that could also spur additional inflation. So the Fed could potentially even become more hawkish in 2025. We shall see the type of pressure that he puts on the Fed. But more of a hawkish tone here, right? Because of the data and the projections. So don't be surprised if that in 2025 tightens even a little bit more, right? And then we'll see a back and forth with Donald Trump and his late night tweets because the Fed is cutting rates instead of the Fed is holding rates or potentially increasing rates opposed to cutting, which he wants. So that's the Fed. Then we'll look at dollar pairs and we'll see the impact there. Bank of Japan, Bank of Japan, and maintain their rate, right? As we talked about during its final meeting of the year, keeping the highest since 2008. The vote was split, however. You had one um, Nokia Tamura advocating for a 25 basis point increase. The decision came despite the U.S. implementing its third cut, as the BOJ needed more time to assess risks, particularly U.S. economic policies under Donald Trump and next year's wage outlook. Right? We talked about last week how investors were looking at January because of meetings that were scheduled. But we mentioned that narrative could continue to change and push that date further back. And that's ultimately what was hinted at by Governor Ueda in the conversation. The board adhered to its assessment that Japan's economy is on track for a moderate recovery despite some areas of weakness. Private consumption continued its upward trend, uh, aided by improving corporate profits and business spending. Meanwhile, exports, industrial output remained relatively flat. On the inflation, year-on-year figures have ranged between 2 and 2.5%, driven by higher services prices, right? Inflation expectations showed a moderate rise, and the underlying CPI is expected to add gradually, right? During the conversation, Governor Ueda hints at later rate hike, which also sent the yen lower, pushing our trades in our direction and potentially pushing. I'll drop this article in the chat, but potentially pushing that decision back to March or April, right? Because they also want to discuss. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. See how the wage negotiations go this year between February and March, to give them an eye on how wages for the year could be impacted, right? Which will then lead to spending, inflation, and the trickle down effect from there. So, um, as we've been anticipating, right, regardless of what the investors have been saying, that narrative changing and it has shifted, and you saw the yen take off, dollar yen, pound yen, CAD yen, Aussie yen, all of them really make some strong pushes. So things are moving for the yen as we anticipated, pushing our trades in the direction that we were looking for. But that's the update on the yen. Today, Bank of England that's coming this morning in a few minutes, I believe, expected to hold the benchmark rate steady at 4.75, balancing persistent inflation pressures against slowing economic growth. After cutting rates twice this year for a total of 50 basis points, the central bank has been advocating a gradual approach to removing policy restraint. Annual inflation rate in the UK rose for a second month, 2.6 in November, as expected. Services inflation steadied at 5%, below the forecast of 5.1, but the BOE's estimate of 4.9%, but above the BOE's expected 4.9%. Wage growth surpassed expectations at 5.2, but the economy contracted 0.1% for a second month in October. Most investors now anticipate the central bank will implement just two rate cuts next year, with the first likely occurring in the February meeting. All right, so we'll see what the what the BOE has for us this morning, but the expectation is for them to hold, um, as inflation is still a concern. Right, so you're hearing that narrative kind of across the board, and really outside of the EU, but um, inflation is still a concern. Inflation is still a concern. Inflation is still a concern, even as they previously cut rates, right? Two or three times. Now inflation is coming back as a concern, which beginning of the year, we kind of talked about this as being the path in which these conversations went if they followed through with the rate cuts. Because if they, and that's the balancing act, right? If they cut too early, then you have the issue of inflation going back up. If they cut too late, then you have a complete deterioration. So um, it's an interesting battle, but something that we kind of saw as we started the year off, as a potential outcome. And here we are, especially with Donald Trump coming in, with that really being the case in 2025. All right. Over to the calendar. Right. This is the data that came out on Monday. All of our PMI numbers that led to some of these decisions you see out of the UK flash PMI. It came in just below expectation. The services PMI came in above expectation. And then you see PMI data for the United States was mixed. And then on Tuesday, CPI data for Canada came out above expectation. Okay. With core retail sales for the United States just a bit below expectation, but the retail sales overall was above. And then yesterday, right, all of our data, CPI for the pound came in flat. And then our rate statements for BOJ and the Fed. And that leads us into today. All right. So we got 7 o'clock monetary policy coming out for Bank of England. And then you have so they won't have a conference, but they'll put out their bulletin tentative for today. Yeah, so no press conference for the BOE. So we'll take that information out of the rate statement. We'll get it distilled and posted in the community for us. Okay, so that's what we're looking at today. Then tomorrow, Friday, we got retail sales coming out of the UK, core retail sales for Canada, and core PCE for the United States, which we'll see if that number ticks up as expected from the conversation yesterday. All right. Questions on the fundamentals?
No.
No. All right. Cool beans. We didn't get into the stock side on the fundamentals, but we'll chat through if we get to some of those indices and such. We'll chat through some of that stuff as well as we get there. All right. But you saw because of the hawkish tone of the Fed, you saw that shift in tone um, from a market perspective, right? And you saw the VIX jumped um, above 20, and yeah, you saw overall shift there. So um, hold on one second, everybody. All right, my bad, everybody. So let's head over to the charts. Take a look at the DXY, and you see daily time frame, right? See that break above those previous levels, and we're headed up, breaking above 108. All right. Um, so dollar strong. We do have stochastic in the sell zone, so we look for a pullback and then a continuation higher. Um, as long as we don't have anything weird or random come out. Now, considering us going into the holiday, we could see consolidation as we move through the weekend, beginning of next week, um, with lower volatility and such. But um, dollar strength, strong bullish action there. We'll look for a pullback and see if we get continuations to the upside there. Okay. Strong push. You see the pullback coming here. We'll watch low price and then continue running to the upside. Okay. That's the DXY. And that leads us into, right, these dollar strength conversations. That one got taken out. Boom. There's your AB boundary on the 4. All right. So we're talking about the dollar Swiss. So a strong push to the upside there, pushing through the matching extension, fresh AB boundary, and we're getting the pullback here on the dollar Swiss. All right, this is on the 4-hour time frame. We'll come to the daily, and you see overall, right, what we're looking for to happen. We got that action moving to the upside. We're getting this pullback now. Maybe could pull a little deeper. Got stochastic in the sell zone on the daily, right? So maybe we get a deeper pullback as we move through the end of the week, and then look for continuations to the upside on the dollar Swiss. Okay, so to come back down to the 4, right, that would look like a deep retracement on the 4, right, 50% 618 level, and then moving us to the upside, making our way through 91 985. Coming down to the 1, we'll likely take out that A boundary on the 1 hour. Okay, we'll watch it close, but as that retracement evolves on the 4, we could likely take out the 1 hour AB boundary, and then we'll flip them, look for 80-20 on the 1 hour on the reversal back to the upside. All right, so stay patient there. Allow that one to evolve. Look at the dollar yen. Took off, right? Between the Fed conversation, which we got to push there, and then the Bank of Japan conversation, we got to push there. This is on the 1 hour time frame. So we come back to the daily, strong action, taking out that A boundary there, pushing to the upside, right? All which we expected to happen. Okay, so if we come back, there's our AB boundary, right? Consolidating a bit, headed back to the upside here. We'll see what happens when we get around 160. Okay, we'll see what happens when we get around 160. We could break through that and continue to head higher, understanding that the BOJ could likely wait until March. We could see this continue to track higher, making it to. We'll see how the narrative evolves. Let's see if 160 is still the breaking point, but potential for us to break through that level and head higher. But as we come down, we'll look for pullbacks and continuations here, right? That D extension achieved. We'll look for a pullback on that coming down to the 1. Okay. We'll look for pullbacks, retest this 154, 339 area. Okay. Um, Pullbacks and then continuations long. Okay. So that's what we'll look for. As the DXY pulls back, we'll see these dollar pairs pull back as well. Okay. So look for those low prices to get back long there on the dollar yen. Any questions here? Nope.
Nope.
Cool beans. Dollar CAD. Same story. Right, this is on the 1 hour. You see, push through that 118 to 127 zone, hit the D extension on that news. Now we're getting the retracement, right? And we're looking for a low price here, 618,786, potentially coming back, retesting this weekly level here, 142, right? Giving us a 786 retracement. Don't be surprised if we see that deeper move there, right? So coming back to the daily, right? Sub fibs, you see push through the extension. On the capital fib, we're inching closer to that D extension, right? Libby posted this in the community. Beautiful shift. It's taking its time, but it's on its way, right? So just looking for pullbacks and continuations. See if we get a pullback, retest the previous highs. Um, and then we'll look for continuation to that 145, 205 level, right? So that type of action there. Stochastic in the sell zone here, right? And maybe this retracement comes a little deeper. We'll see how things evolve, right? And it could start to cycle through consolidation and such as well as we move through the holidays. So keep that in mind. There's your 4, right? And you see that retracement starting. So we'll see what happens at 142,696. Okay. This is where we are on the dollar CAD. Beautiful move, working our way to that D extension. Not far from it. So let's watch for a low price there and we can get back long and take advantage of that move to the upside. Questions on the dollar CAD?
No questions.
All right, cool deal. So that's on that side. We got pound rate statement coming up in a few. So let's take a look at the pound dollar, right? We've been in this retracement phase. Stochastic been pushing down, right? We're sitting at a 50% retracement level. We had a support level there, and we're trying to stall a bit now where we are. Okay. So we'll see how things evolve. We could get another push to the downside before we get a reversal and that retracement on the dollar, right? So see if we get price to push down into the sell zone on the stochastic, giving us a double bottom look at 124,911. And then see if we get a move to the upside on the potentially hawkish BOE, or more hawkish than dovish, I'll say that. As the expectation is for them to hold. And we'll see what their inflation expectations look like. And could that give us a move to the upside, preparing us for another leg down with dollar strength coming into the new year. Okay, so we'll watch for that on the daily. Come down to the 4. And that's where we are on the 4, right? Sitting at the 618 retracement level. Okay. Um, let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens with the conversation. See if we get a move back up, give us a high price, and then we'll see how the dollar evolves from there. Okay. Um, I'm not bearish, looking for retracements after the strong bullish action, looking for retracements and then continuations to the upside on the DXY, right? So in this scenario here on this pound dollar, I'm just looking for a potential move like this. And then I think we'll see a continuation to the downside like that. Okay. But overall, I'm bullish on the DXY, just looking for a retracement after the news yesterday. That's all. Yep, definitely see the Fed the super hawkish conversation yesterday. So um yeah, so that's my thought. We'll see how it evolves, but that's my initial thinking there. Okay, so that's on the 4 coming down to the 1. See the back and forth there. Let's see. Probably don't have anything going to the upside. Yep, that was taken out. And that's where we are there. 2 minutes until that statement comes in. So we'll see. We'll see how this evolves. Right. But, and we'll see what happens with the dollar. We got more dollar data coming tomorrow. Manufacturing today, GDP quarter over quarter today. GDP is expected to be up. We'll see what the manufacturing numbers are. But this core PCE number that they mentioned, right, being higher, around 2.5% to end the year, I believe. So we'll see if that comes in as they expected it to, right? Because that could, we'll see how that goes. If this comes in below than the expectation that was given yesterday, right, that could lead to that catalyst of that retracement on the dollar, closing out the year. So we'll see. We'll see, right? But we got BOE in 1 minute, so we'll see how the market responds to the rate and the rate statement. As they won't be having a press conference, right? So that's the pound dollar. Any questions on the thoughts here? No.
No questions. I think the news has just come out for the British pound.
Just dropped. All right,
Just
you see
dropped.
price pulling back there. Let's see. Split decision there. All right. Bank of England into the year. Let's see. Holding borrowing cost, expected to leave rates 4 points. Its guidance that a gradual approach to removing policy restraint remains appropriate. Andrew Bailey said that 4 cuts over the course of 2025 are likely. Markets perhaps stung by the aggressive bets a year ago, priced in just 3 starting in February. So that's that. Okay. So let's see what we're doing here. Yeah, we're starting to see a bounce there now. So let's watch and see how things evolve as the report is digested. I'll get a breakdown and get it posted in the community this morning as well. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the other pound pairs since we're here. Got the pound Aussie pulling back. Daily time frame. We hit the D extension overall, right? Strong push yesterday got us to the D extension. I look for pullbacks and potential continuations to the upside. As of right now, on this pound Aussie, as they're expressing caution. So cast it pushing down. Could see more retracement coming back and retesting previous resistance levels, right? Something like that, right? As the market is also being cautious and in more of a risk off state right now. There's that crown pattern played out beautifully, beautifully to the upside. Let's map these out here. The extension achieved. Looking for a swing high. You see the market pulling back here on this pound Aussie. So let's see if we get a pullback and then see if price settles in and gives us a continuation back to the upside. We'll see how the market takes that statement. Coming down to the one, boom, there's your 80-20, right? So just pushing out of that zone. You got your trend line break there. Right? Trend line break, 80-20 to the downside. That's an active move there. Let's see if we get this to continue here. Boom. 80-20 on the pound, Aussie on the one. Okay. Questions on the pound Aussie?
No questions.
Cool deal. Bounce back and look at that pound dollar. I took that as a dovish statement. Let's see what happens. We'll continue to monitor that. Pound cat starting to turn over as well. Okay. I had this mapped out. We'll see if this plays out over time. That Canadian dollar is in an interesting space as they might start slowing down their cuts. Interested to see how the Canadian dollar moves overall. But do we see Canadian dollar strength to push this to the downside? We'll see how this evolves. So on the daily time frame, this is what that looks like here. Okay. And do we see this crown pattern here play out? Action like that. We'll see what happens there. On the 4, we got 80-20 here. We'll see if we get that full move down. I don't know that we do right now, right? We could see this action push the D extension and then a reset on that. Come deeper. Okay. So let's watch this and see how this pound cat evolves. This one is interesting, in an interesting space. Retesting the previous highs right now. Yeah, definitely want to assess that statement. See what the tone of it really is. Let's see there. And down on our one. Boom. AB boundary retracement. Yeah, so I got my eyes on this level. We'll see if that level holds and we get another push to the upside. Yeah, that's the pound cat. Let's see. Questions? No? Yeah. Cool deal.
Yeah, no questions.
Cool deal. Let's look at this pound yen. Pulling back. But you see what we've been talking about on this yen. All right, we got a post in the community yesterday. We'll look at the 4, see that break. right? Stochastic in the sell zone here, right? And just calling for this retracement to come here. But we're off to the races to the upside, man. Definitely looking at 208, 209, potentially 209, 341 as the end target here. But looking at this to really continue moving to the upside over the next few months. And you see strong bullish action has some confirmation there. Okay. As we come down to the 4, just the post in the community yesterday, nice break of the cloud. We got pullbacks and continuations to the upside with that strong bullish action there. Okay. 618 retracement. Beautiful move to the upside there. Okay. So looking for this one to continue. Looking for this one to continue. Like I said, with just pullbacks, which we're in this retracement phase now, retesting that area that it broke out of, and then look for the thing to continue moving along. Okay. So as we come down to the 1, you see your reset here, right? New AB boundary will pop in shortly. That'll look like this. And we'll look for that low price, right? Excuse me. So I had to take profit level set on this move to the upside, which was hit. So now I'm looking for a low price retracement back to this B boundary level, 195, 946. Great work on that, Joy. Great work. 189, 465. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right. Sheesh. What we got there? Almost a little less than 1,000 pips. It's still counting. Great work, Jordan. Great work. Same on the swish and the cat. Yep. Yep. All of them move the same way, man. All of them. Even with that Swissy, with them being more dovish, they're still against that yen. It's still moving. So that's beautiful. Great work. Great work. You know, we talked about it, and this is playing out as we talked about. All right. So great work on that. Great work on that. Um, uh, yeah, man. Well, she got Joy got that allocation on the on Darwin. So Joy's making the moves, man. Beautiful work. Beautiful work. Beautiful work. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love to see it. So that's where we're on the pound yen, right? That's where we're on the pound yen. And we'll look for that continuation to the upside. All right. Um, what? Let's go, Beneath. Beneath got a top 10 position in Darwinian silver. Let's go. Rating a 93.76. Let's go. 10 out of 7,690. Let's go, man. Um, let's go, dude. I love it. I love it. Wow. The hard work is paying off, good people. The hard work is paying off. I love it. Let's go, man. Let's go. That's it, Reese. You'll get there. You'll get there. Tyrone got some news too. Tyrone, what you holding out on, man?
I was just
We got
waiting
all
for
kind of great news happening this morning. Let's go.
yeah. So yesterday, when the what's it called? The Fed news dropped. I was in on a sell on the US 100
Uh-huh.
from 2 o'clock. I held that position. And it was probably up to date the biggest win ever that I've got in trading. So I've gone up the rankings, and I've now been allocated 30,000 or something like that.
Let's go.
so, so yeah, it was a good day of trading yesterday.
Let's go. I love it, man. Look at that. Trust in the process, man. Trust in the process, continuing to follow the plan. Man, sevens all over this morning. So we got Joy, Benit, Tyrone with allocations on Darwinia. We got Reese and Donette um, funded on is the funded trader? Is that what it is? Um, Top Step. My bad. Top Step. Um, Reese and Donette funded on Top Step. Let's go, man.
And just
Let's
think about
go.
it. 3 years ago, we was a hopeless, lost group of people, and we didn't know our way.
It is what they're talking. What they're saying doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Trust in the process, man. Trust in the process. I absolutely love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's go, man. Let's go. And it's just the beginning, right? It's just the beginning. Continue now that you're seeing the success, right? Now that you're seeing all the hard work paying off, now it's about continuing the process, right? Continuing the discipline, continuing to instill those habits, right? So it continues to be ingrained as second nature. Man, this just made my day. This just made my day. I absolutely love it. Let's go, man. Let's go. Let's go. Who's next? Who's next to get an allocation or get funded and take this thing to another level? Oh man, let's go. Let's go. Um, I know Benny's
Ryan,
on
what
the right
happens when
now.
when you get the allocation? Can anybody speak to that, like, so that you know?
Yep. So when you get the allocation, um, your your demo account you keep trading, um, but your trades are copied on their platform on the backside, so you can go into the platform and take a look to see um, the trades that are copied because they talked about that ratio that they make that adjustment regarding risk. And then the profit that you make on that, they pay you 15% up. All right. So they're trading the 30,000 allocation for you on the back end where your trades are copied. And then every quarter you get paid out. Now you also are able to get an allocation every month if you um, continue your process, right, in a successful manner. So you can stack those allocations, right? So it can go from 30,000 to 60,000, 90,000, or being in the top 10, you're above that 30,000 level, um, 75,000, $100,000. Now, right, you can stack those every month. And every quarter you get paid out 15% of the total profit that allocated amount generates. So
Cool. All right, we
that's why I say
expecting
it's
some
just
Chris. We expect to see some money, guys. Payback to the Forex trader. Thanks for that.
you guys are doing phenomenal, man. Like I said, continue the process because those amounts stack, right? They stack. So you get another allocation next month that adds to top 10 gets 110, 110 euros. Let's go. Let's go. Man. Ah. Whew. Let's go. Let's go. Oh man. We
Our
got some
accountability
stories to
chats has
tell.
been so fire lately. It's been fun.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And kudos to you guys for holding yourselves accountable, man. Right? The accountability group really working to help each other. And you're seeing the growth. You're seeing the growth. Sheesh. Man, oh man, oh man. We got some stories to tell, good people. Just the beginning. Super excited. Super excited for each of you. Um, just seeing the growth, man. Like Joyce said, 3 years ago, trying to figure it all out, right? To now being at a point where we coming. Exactly, Beneath. Exactly. We coming. We coming for it all. Oh, let's go. I can't wait for Benny to get off this plane. Ah, awesome. 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 Mm, yeah. Just the beginning, Joy. Just the beginning. Man, oh man, oh man. That's super exciting, dude. Super exciting. Um, take a look at this euro dollar.
What's your testimony gonna be at church Sunday, Ryan?
You see, I'm speechless now, right? You see, I'm speechless now. It's it's amazing, man. It's amazing to be able to see the growth in people day after day, right? When most people look at it and say, nothing's happening, right? Nothing's happening. What are you doing? But to know that the work is being put in and you guys are living testaments to be able to say the hard work pays off. You're seeing the fruits of your labor, right? These early mornings, at the beginning, there were late nights too, right? Early mornings and late nights, just building that foundation. And now you're starting to be able to stand up, right? At the beginning, it was rocky. It felt like quicksand, right? But you stuck to it. You made a decision, you committed, and you stuck to it. And now you've built the muscle to really start lifting the weight. Now that strength is just going to continue to increase. You guys are living testaments of it. And this ain't got nothing to do with me. This ain't got nothing to do with Benny. This has to do with the work that you guys have put in, that you committed yourself to. And you're seeing the growth, right? You see people all the time talk about a bunch of stuff, right? But nothing ever comes from it. So it ultimately it's just talk. But you guys haven't only made those declarations and those commitments to yourselves, but you've actually put in the work. You've actually put in the work and you're seeing the fruits of your labor. You've been able to learn from the mistakes that Benny and I have made, right? Compress the time frames from 10 years to 3. It's absolutely amazing, man. It is absolutely amazing. So kudos to you guys. Kudos to you guys for putting in the work, man. Mm, 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 mm. Kudos to you guys, man. Hey, let's go. Um, I'm gonna send a note in the community, um, just to update you guys, and I want to update the leaderboard. Make sure that those profiles are updated on the Darwinian leaderboard, so that we can track those and show the progress. So, um, yeah. So we'll look at this euro dollar here, and then we'll wrap that up, man. I'm speechless, dude. I'm speechless. I'm super excited. Um, euro dollar, euro dollar. Push back down to the B boundary, got to that 382, retest that daily level. Um, actually, no. Tyrone, you talked about a trade that pushed you over the mark. What was that again?
Oh, that was the Nasdaq US 30. No, US 30, sorry. Well, sorry, let me have a look. It was the 100 the NAS 100.
That's what we're gonna do. So talk us through where you are. Daily
So
time frame, 4 hour time frame.
so currently, I was looking at the daily. And what I noticed when I was on the daily time frame was that the earlier fib has been hit at an all-time high already. That's been taken out. So
Mm-hmm.
of course now we are waiting again for another pullback on this new fib. So I looked deep. I started to look deep into the Elliott wave that going to be looking at in January in the group. And of course, if you go down to the 8 hour now,
8 hour.
yep, it shows an 80-20.
Mm.
So I literally got in on that extension at the beginning, right at the top. The yes, well, a bit more later, slightly bit more to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4 candles to the right.
After that swing high formed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. Yeah, that's where I got in at, and then I literally left it, and then of course it
Let's
had the
go.
pullback.
Let's go. Let's go. And it's a textbook move. The 8 hour and the 2 hour dope. All right. I love it. I love it, man. Uh yeah. I love it, yo. Let's go. Come down to the 4 fresh AB boundary
Mm-hmm.
breakdown. George said the 2 hour. AB boundary breakdown. You get down to the 1. Boom. Just shy of the 118 and 127 zone. Breakdown. Man.
Ryan, I sat at my chart and looked at that thing rip for 2 hours. Did not pull back. No joke, like it was,
This whole deal here,
that
huh?
whole deal was 2 hours. From 2 o'clock to 4 when the market closed. It did not pull back. That was
Wow.
wild.
But it all makes sense, right?
That was a day to make a lot of money, but
Oh
scared,
yeah.
like I'm not getting in that news. Mm-mm.
But that's all right, right? You what you're seeing, even in just watching, right? And that's what we've been talking about. These key levels, right? Daily swing high was formed, right? Let's go back to it. Let's go back to the daily real quick. That's where it all started. Okay. Break it down. So, and then we'll wrap up here. No, it's the 8 hour. Daily swing high was formed. I know it wasn't yet. You had the extension was achieved. Okay. You had one candle to the right, but you had your stochastic in the sell zone. Right. And so it was okay, will that stochastic start to turn over? Right. You had one candle close to the right. And now you're looking at this candle starting to form. With the expectation, right? We have been hearing the Fed potentially starting to slow down. That then makes sense, right? For the market to move to the downside. And then Tyrone looked at the 8 hour, right? And that gave you, again, it doesn't matter the time frame, doesn't matter the asset class, right? Gave you the 80-20 here with that first candle on the daily closed. So what you're seeing is key announcements when price pushes into this key zone and right adding in the stochastic being in that buy or sell zone, will that daily swing high form or that daily swing low form? Announcements happen, push price in a direction. And if you look at it, right, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll look at some of the others, even on the stock side, right? Sitting in key zones. Sitting in key zones. No, not this one. SCHG. ETFs on 80-20. Boom. Breakdown. Daily. 80-20. Breakdown. Right? So it all plays into the foundation of what you guys have been learning for the past 3.5 years. Right? So now you know, all right, I can trust my analysis more. That's what it tells me. All right. Can trust my analysis more. Let me pull the trigger next time. So
You know how many times I've said that?
continue to remind. Continue to remind. And you're seeing it, right? You told yourself that so many times. You've been sitting in these yens for a month and a half. And like we don't get them all, but we get them. Good people. Kudos to you. Super excited about what's to come. All right. We're gonna wrap it up there. We'll be back at it tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for this pre-New York session. Have a phenomenal Thursday. Have a phenomenal Thursday. Send me your Darwin signals. Send me your Darwin, your Darwin ticker symbols, so that we can make sure that our leaderboard is up to date. All right. I'll put a reminder in the community. Have a phenomenal day, everybody. We'll see you in the morning. Peace.
Thank you.